The cold temperatures impact us, our homes and our cars too, especially electric vehicles. Experts say EVs actually have less range in cold temperatures. 13 Action News reporter Brenna Nye tells us why that is. Brenna.
One expert I spoke with says electric vehicles can lose 10 to 30% of their total range in freezing conditions. An article by Recurrent, an EV analytics company, shared how electric cars lose range in the winter. Its head of marketing, Andrew Garberson, explained to me what causes the problem.
The cold weather mostly affects an EV due to having to warm the cabin. Most of the range loss is because instead of putting all of that capacity to miles, it's pulling some of that battery into the cabin, into the warmer, into the heater. So that's where most of the range loss is coming from. Some of it is also coming because from the actually the car having to warm its own battery.
Sandrine Mubenga is an electrical engineering technology professor at U Toledo. She says electric vehicles are typically equipped with lithium-ion batteries that store a lot of energy. So when it's colder outside, it takes more energy to warm the battery up.
What happens when it gets cold, below freezing temperature like we are seeing this day, the electrolyte, which is sometimes liquid or gel, is going to become harder, close to freezing. You know, sometimes it freezes. So what happens is when it freezes like that, it doesn't allow the electron to pass through. So therefore, you don't have as much charge. So if you have less charge inside the battery, then your range is going to be decreased.
So what can you do to improve your EV's range?
My 2 tips for cold weather EV driving are to preheat your car, keep it plugged in and warm the cabin of the car before you leave the house. And number 2 would be just charge a few percent higher than you normally would. If you normally charge to 60% and it's a really cold day, charge to 65 or 70.
Some other advice is to slow charge the battery. Mubenga says to be cautious about using one of the more powerful chargers to speed up the battery charge over one of the slower charging ones due to the electrolyte being frozen.